Side of government is not only filled with parents that patronize, parents that simply want the best for their child, but there are also horrible parents that refuse to have authority, just follow the child's every need, and do not have any incentive whatsoever to instill discipline and mental fortitude into the children. A few things before I go on to my argumentation, let's rebut a few things for side of opposition. On the first thing, and it also comes with side of opposition setup, is that the definition coming from side of government, especially towards abuse, is absolutely misleading. We believe that abuse should be purposely and maliciously causing harm towards child. And the main takeaway here is that when we talk about abuse, it comes with malice. It comes with the intent to cause hurt. It comes with the intention, regardless directly or directly, to cause pain onto a certain child. And it is exclusive of contact sports simply due to the reason that parents do not send their children to gyms. Parents do not send their children to training because they want to hurt their children, but they want to make their children better and stronger in the future. Secondly, is that when they talk about how these children do not have any other alternatives, and it is coercion. The thing here is the same way how sending children to school is not coercion, it is not abuse. The same way how parenting through like hitting your child if he or she does something wrong is not abuse, is not coercion. The same thing applies. It is simply a form of parenting, and it is completely justifiable and acceptable. So coming from the opposition, our first setup is I believe abuse, as said before, is maliciously causing harm. And secondly, our burden is to prove that pushing for contact sports is done with good intentions. And if it is done with good intentions and comes with good benefits, it excludes it from the definition of abuse said earlier. The two argumentations from current side opposition. The first being that contact sports are highly regulated. The reason why this is important to note is because regulation in contact sports shows security and not just simply a whole lot of harm as claimed by some government. Some government is trying to paint a picture that when we send our children to wrestling, we send our children to play rugby, you automatically we will get a broken arm and broken leg. It is not the case. Our premise here is simple. Is that contact sports, all of them actually have a sort of federation that supervises the well-being of the sport itself. So this looks like ensuring that all clubs have proper equipment, and equipment is for your security and safety. Secondly, you have medical assistance and on standby. It's showing that if anything bad ever happens, which rarely happens anyway, you have proper medical assistance. Thirdly, there are qualified trainers who know what they're doing, who know when to stop and know their limits when training these children. And fourthly, it excludes any underground centers. We can see that there are centers that are unregulated, that are unqualified, and we do not include all of these centers into the whole big definition of contact sports because it is simply illegal to send them to there in the first place. The impact of this argument is that we've shown to you, the impact of this argument is that these children actually have, these children and these parents or actually have a sort of guarantee that these children will not die at the end of the day. It shouldn't have proper regulation, proper supervision, and at the end of the day, they'll become better people physically and mentally. The weighing of this argument is that remove the dangerous aspect and showing that it is not abuse. And it is not abuse. This argument simply shows that there is no imminent threat of danger. There's no imminent threat of losing an arm, losing a leg. Therefore, it is not abuse. Second argumentation, however, is that contact sports are very, very beneficial. The reason why this is important is that because we show you how contact sports are good, and when it is good, it is not abuse because you cannot do something that is good and consider it abuse. Similar to how you sending your children to tuition, even though unwillingly is not abuse, the same thing applies. The premise here is that in contact sports actually build your mental and physical strength. Like exercise. If you force your child to exercise 3 times a week, for example, it is not abuse. It is simply you want the best for your child and no, best for your child, and it comes with discipline, it comes with coercion. We actually concede, but the point here is it is justifiable coercion. And secondly, because the parents do this, send push their children for contact sports for absolutely normal reasons. because parents actually want their child to actually they no, parents want their child to surpass all limits in life, to surpass all limitations and barriers they have mentally and physically, and ultimately become a better and more competent human being. The weighing of this argument is that it shows how parents do this with good intentions and with good and noble intentions, not malice. When there is not malice, it is not considered as abuse. In conclusion, we've shown a side of opposition has told you a few things. The first being how the definition of abuse by sort of government is absolutely and utterly unacceptable simply due to the fact that it states how when you do something, when children do not get what they want, when children do not do what they want, it is automatically considered as abuse. Parents know better for their children, and parents should want the best for their children. The second, we've shown to you how contact sports are highly regulated. Therefore, there shouldn't be a large amount of fear as unnecessarily brought up by government. The third, we've shown to you how contact sports are actually beneficial, and our government actually has to negate all of these things and show to the house why contact sports are still a form of abuse, and contact sports are still done with bad intentions to hurt the child, and with bad intentions to hurt the child and cause them a world load of pain. And lastly, we've told you how when it comes to parenting, a very big part that comes into it is just discipline. Is this telling your child to do what they don't want to do because because that's simply how life works. You have to push yourself to the limits and do the things that you have to do to improve yourself, even if you don't want to do it. And as a child, of course, you complain here and there, but as a parent, it is your job to push forward towards those types of things, rather than just following your every need and the every want and every wish of a child, which is basically immature and bad parenting to begin with. Thank you.